So I welcome you to our webinar that is dedicated to our project Array that we've done in collaboration with our Slovenian partners as the lead partner of the project ID20 and with Locus Association from Romania. I would like to explain in this webinar how we approached each other, how we got together, and to get some good examples of collaboration of young heritage enthusiasts, how to apply different approaches in the heritage protection, and how to make something fruitful out of pure energy that people have for the monuments and for our history. Uh, this this project was co-funded by the European Union through the Creative Europe program, and we started collaboration in 2022 when our lead partner ID20 was looking for partners for their activities that they wanted to do in the heritage that they are trying to protect, which is industrial heritage of a small town of Idria, which is listed in UNESCO. And we knew each other from a different project and from a different conference. So it was kind of luck that we found each other and starting to think about the project, what we need at our sites, and the other partner, the Locus Association, was again connected with ID20. So the three partners as young enthusiasts within the monument protection in our three countries, we just joined our team effort and to think of the project that can be fruitful for all of us. So the collaboration started, I think, in March of 2022, before the call of the Creative Europe was over. So we had a lot of meetings, a lot of online calls. We haven't met in person in that period. So we got everything online, even though it was a COVID situation, but it got also budget issues. So it was best for us to write the project via online conferences. And eventually we got successful. We got quite good, quite high points for the quality of the project, thanks to our partner ID20, which is skilled in writing international projects. This is our first international collaboration of that scale, so it was a great experience for us to write and later to implement the project. So we in the Gothic Root Association, we take care of the medieval heritage in the region of Gemer and Malahond, which is in the central southern part of Slovakia, which is full of medieval churches with Gothic frescoes inside. But as we wanted to work with volunteers, as we wanted to work with local people, we were looking for an opportunity to work on some specific jobs that can be done by laymen and by volunteers, and doesn't need like a certified professional, like for example a restoration artist for frescoes within the churches and so on. So we were looking for an opportunity to do something external in the exterior of our churches, as many of them are in the shape that needs some care, especially the surrounding of the churches that used to be once upon a time, in most of the cases, cemeteries. but later on in the 19th century they were transformed into areas with trees and with some greenery, just usually in the central position of the village. So we picked our site in Lutheran church in the village of Kamenyany, which is a small village in Banská Bystrica self-governing region. And we we thought that it would be nice to do something with the surroundings, which was quite abandoned and didn't have a good care of the local people, because the church itself is undergoing in the recent years like quite large restoration works, mostly in the interior, but the surroundings was mostly for the visitors, not a very pleasant uh, view. So we wanted to change that, and we wanted to approach towards it systematically. So we wanted to collaborate with professionals, I mean the heritage professionals, historians, and also with the gardeners that take care of the historical greenery. So we had a good understanding and good cooperation with the owner of the church, which is the Lutheran congregation of the Kamenyany village, and with the local municipality as well. The village itself is mostly uh, with Roma population, which brings some challenges as well. But Gema region is one of the least developed regions in Slovakia by economical means, and with one of the most or one of the highest unemployment rates in Slovakia. So we wanted to join the people from the village within the project, and to collaborate together with experts, and to show the local people that it makes sense to take care of the surroundings, and that there are definitely a lot of people that care about the heritage, and about the shape of such a small village as Kamenyany is. So that was our initial plan, and we were implementing this since January 2023 until the end of the 2024. And the project itself had two major parts. Within the first year, we were approaching with case study. So we collaborated with experts, as I already mentioned, to get a plan, to get a document that we could rely upon, and also to communicate this document with the monument board and other subjects that we were legally supposed to, as we were working within the national monument site, which of course has its limits and its regulations. So in this case study, within the first year of the project, we were basically, each of the partners was working on their own sites to get ready the documentation and the plan for the second part and most important part of the project, which were the so-called master classes, pretty much workshops with 40 people on one site for 3 days, and to actually do some work on those sites based on the documentation that we've delivered in the first year of the project. So I would like to walk you through the process of how such a project is developing, how we communicated with our partner, how we dealt with the challenges, and how the implementation actually went. So in the first part, we had an idea, like we would like to do some landscaping, some land works, to restore some lime plaster, around the church and to work with the greenery as well, because it needed to be the trees needed to be trimmed and so on. And we were checking the historical photos and historical documentation, in particular about this church and this village. But we had an idea that probably this case study shouldn't be uh, dedicated only to this church, but that we should uh, write down approaches that could be applied in more of our localities that are in the similar situation in the region. So first of all, we try to look for some historical pictures, and we were, of course, there is a lot of documentation about this. So we were definitely trying to get as historical as we could. And then we are trying to find some good examples of how the surrounding of a medieval church should look like nowadays. So this is the current situation of the village. So you can kind of compare how it looked like and how it looks right now. And yeah, that's the view from the parish garden, which was our base camp during the implementation of the work. Uh, First of all, we needed the site visit, even though we in Gothic Group Association we had good knowledge about the surroundings and about the church itself, but we teamed up with experts from hmm, heritage greenery and historical greenery architects to check the sites with us and to think about the interventions that we can implement. So there were two meetings on the site. The first one was with the owner as well, with the priest, Mr. Boyna, that we cooperate for many years on his projects, not only around this church. So first site visit was dedicated just to the greenery in the surroundings. As you may see, there were a lot of tree stumps because in the 20th century there were a lot of trees planted around the church, but it wasn't the best solution, and the trees weren't taken care of properly, so they deteriorated and they needed to be cut down like 2 or 3 years ago, because they could cause damage not only to the property of the church, but to be a health hazard for the inhabitants as well. So there were more than 10 trees just cut down, and large tree stumps stayed in the ground. So that was our first idea, to get at least some of these tree stumps out and plant some wild flowers there to create a flower bed, to actually make some visual impact in the surroundings of the church. And there was another idea to plant a tree, at least one tree, one linden tree, which is quite a common tree in the historical sites. Pretty much anywhere in Slovakia. It's not only in Slovakia, I mean in Central Europe, in the wider region, but linden tree is also a national symbol of Slovakia. And two more linden trees are actually standing just nearby the church, and those are protected historical trees. So we wanted to have this addition. Here's one of the old linden trees. So that was first thing, to actually do some landscaping, do some land works, to beautify the surroundings with some flower beds, and then to take professional care of two standing linden trees by a certified arborist, and to make a workshop about it. So even the local people can learn how to properly trim trees, how to take care of their own trees in their own gardens, to make them safe and vital. So these two approaches uh, were taken care of. But we'll get to the detail later on. These are some details of the church, which has medieval frescoes not only from the inside but also from the exterior. But that's, as I said, is a professional job for restoration artists that they are currently working on. We also saw some damage to the already existing trees, so we decided to monitor them in the incoming years and to make some interventions if needed. During our workshop, there was ongoing work, or during our site visit in 2023, there was ongoing work on the church tower as well. So just some pictures from the surroundings. As you see, there is still a lot of chestnut trees around, but those were not obstacles, but they need to be taken care of properly in order to survive. So as you see, the church itself is on the hill within the central position of the village. So so that's kind of specialty because there is a fortification all around, and all this fortification is pretty much filled with clay and with stones. Then we had a second site visit with historians and with monument protection professionals to consult with them what we wanted to do and to help us with getting this case study written with the historical information about the church itself and also about the approaches with traditional technologies, how we can tackle our issue and what we wanted to do. As you see, there are stairs around that are not being used. There is only one approach to the church itself, and two more entrances are sealed off with fences. These stairs are more or less from Renaissance era, and our initial plan was to work on them as well, to clean them up, to um, kind of get them into shape. But eventually, we didn't approach that after consulting with the official Monument Bureau of Slovakia or the Monument Board of Slovakia. We would need a much larger scope of archaeological works and stuff like that. And we didn't have the time or the budget to actually prepare such researches. So this is the interior of the church just during the restoration works. So I believe we can go to the actual case study and to the report. We can just skim through the text pages, but yeah, this whole document helped us a lot to navigate ourselves within the project and how to approach such problems that we were actually working on. So the whole document has more than 50 pages, and it is dedicated to different approaches. So it's like more a general opinion about how to take care of the church surroundings and how to work with sacred places and with cemeteries in the vicinity of the churches. So we went through the legislature, we went through some basic researches, how this problematic is historically being tackled in the history from the 19th century until nowadays, and how the actual landscape and the shape of the heritage monuments communicate with the village and with the space where it is located. So we went for some more historical churches, mostly from the region of Gemer, so we could have some kind of regional insight. And we were looking for analogies of the church surroundings, which most of the churches in this region are fortified from the 16th century because of the Ottoman Empire invasion to Hungarian Kingdom. And then we were looking for some good examples of the landscaping, of the beautifying the surroundings of the churches in Slovakia and abroad. So we picked some of the examples of the congregations that have probably more workforce or have a stronger community that still takes care of the vicinity of the churches, which is not the case of Kamenyani. The community is not that strong anymore, and the church itself is not very often used for the services. Um, so we were looking for something that could inspire us within our work and what we wanted to implement during the masterclass in 2024. So we went to Slovakia, to the region, and to a broader region, and then to some international examples, as in Austria, for example, like very small villages with village houses. Uh, as I said, we were working with professionals, with historians as well. So we needed to get the whole area to the context. And as you may see, the church itself has a very central position within the village on a small hill. And the village, even though it's poorly maintained by the inhabitants because of the economical issues of the region, but the church itself it's a functional village, a functional center of the village with a parish house and with a former Lutheran school, which are three oldest and the most historical objects. All of them are national monuments, which belong to the Lutheran congregation in this village. So we try to tackle this approach like within this kind of urban planning approach. We looked for some old maps, and then we used our drone flights to see the situation from above, to have much better understanding of the relations within the center of the village. And the most important picture was this one from the beginning of the 20th century, which gave us the understanding how the trees were planted and what we can do with the greenery, like in a historical way. So we approached our research from our drone photos, like to dedicate which of the tree stumps need to be taken out, how many of them are there, if we need to work within the fortification wall with some drainage. But overall, we abandoned our idea to actually do some landscaping because, as we already mentioned with the stairs, um, it was kind of difficult for us to get documents about the archaeological research and confirmation from the Monument Bureau within the given time of the project. So we were only working pretty much with the topsoil and with flower beds. So we also monitored the damage on the fortification wall, and we were thinking about working on this uh, plaster that is in kind of bad shape, and we again went with the idea that we would like to have a restoration artist to get us into traditional technology of mixing lime plaster, of how to use it on the walls and so on. But eventually, we were again kind of stopped by the legislature because this fortification wall is a monument as well, and by the legislation of Slovakia, only restoration artists can work on such a historical monument, even though it's only plain fortification wall. Uh, but we couldn't approach it, and we didn't even have time for that, even though for 3 days during masterclass we should have 40 people on the site. But it wouldn't make sense to start just one section of this fortification wall, to try to get it done, and the rest of the fortification wall would be abandoned after the project, and we would need to uh, really focus on finishing in the later stages of the project and ask some different funding and get it done by professionals. But now the main focus of the owner of the Lutheran parish or the congregation are on the church itself. So the fortification wall probably will come into focus in the next years. Um, what was one of the innovative approaches was that we had our church was already digitalized into 3D scans from the exterior side. We were cooperating with one of the companies from Slovakia that takes care of it, and we had available some scans. So we applied it to the overall situation in the village, and the most important part for us was, of course, the church area itself. So we used the 3D scans in a different way. We were working with colors, like to see the actual textures, and it was really great for us to have this because we didn't need to be on the site. You never have a chance to actually do all the photos you need. So to have this 3D model really helped us to get all the information, even if we weren't present on the site. And I can show you how this actually seems on this whole 3D scan. And what we learned from it. And I would definitely emphasize that nowadays, if you want to work with heritage or with any other older building, it is very important to have the scans. It's great for the detailed planning, but also for the having the memory how the monument looked like just before the renovation. So for us, it was really important as we were not focused on the restoration works, but it was really great for us to plan our works ahead. So I will get back to here. One of the parts, of course, was collaboration with the local. local people that we already have some experience with. We were doing some events in the previous years for the locals and for the visitors, like medieval festival in the vicinity of the church and so on. So we already knew the locals, we knew the municipality, and we were happy to work with them again. So here you can see how we use the 3D model for planning of our works. So to monitor the damage and to dedicate like where we are going to plant the trees, which tree stumps we should take care of, and where to put like flower beds and so on. So and then we had design of one of the brochures that was like the main promotion material of the church itself. So that was the case study that gave us an idea what to do, have it written in one document with dedicated professionals, and again after the communication with local actors, that was one part of the document as well, what they want to do and how they can maintain it in the short term and middle term. And so that was done in 2023. And then all of the partners had master classes in their own sites. So ID20 had quite a large workshop with different approaches in Idria, within one of the miners' houses that take care. And in Herculane, it was during the summertime. They had a summer camp for architects and for volunteers from Romania, so we joined that. And we in Slovakia, we started in May. We were the first ones to implement the MasterClass. So it was a great experience because we never handled 40 people on one site at once. We usually work as volunteers, just we as colleagues from association, which is usually 5 to 10 people. But this needed much wider collaboration to get 5 people from Slovenia, 5 people from Romania, and 30 people from Slovakia, mostly locals that they have no education and no skills to work around the heritage site. So that was quite a challenge, but I believe we were quite successful. So we can go through some pictures of the workshop. The challenges were like the usual stuff. If you don't know all the people, it's really hard to get them into groups because we were doing 4 different parts of the work. 2 of them were like cutting trees or trimming trees with an arborist, with some theoretical lecture as well. The second one was putting the new flower beds or preparing the soil and sowing flowers or wildflowers. And then we had the restoration artist to show us how to work with lime plaster in a traditional way and how to actually prepare it with lime and sand. And then we had furniture restoration. We had some wooden furniture found in the village that could be reused in some of the other heritage sites in the nearby village. So we had the community from Kamenyany and from Jelšava, which is a nearby city. Um, so these are first meetup and division to the groups. The groups could have been switched, like you could take whichever course you want, but usually people when they started to work in one group, like for example with flowers, they stayed within this group for the next 2 days to actually finish their job. We didn't have great weather, which was another challenge because we were doing pretty much only exterior work. So we had some time delays because of that. So we needed to tackle these challenges as well. But that's the basic stuff that you need to take care of for whatever you are doing in the exterior. But it was summertime, so it wasn't a problem. Uh, we had the restoration artist Juraj, who was taking care of the lime plaster workshop. Uh, and as we couldn't approach the plasters on the national monument, which is the church itself or the fortification wall, so we picked an old house, an old barn in the parish house area, where we dedicated some walls of the barn to actually be prepared and to give us the lecture. So here you can see the local girls and the guys measuring and preparing the flower bed. Here you can see it, like where the flowers were actually sown. Here is the preparation of the limestone plaster in the old school technique, that you don't need to actually wait for the lime to get ripe for months. This technique of slaking the lime is actually perfect for prepare it one day and use it the other day. And you have the sand and you have the lime and you make layers, and then overall you just pour it with water, so the lime is actually burning without the approach of the oxygen. So you have pretty much the plaster mixture ready just the next day, and you can use it. So that was one of our skills that we definitely learned. But we worked also with already slaked lime to fasten the process, because we didn't have that much time that we could wait, for the second lime to be good to use. So the first day we already approached how to make lime plaster. And with the trees, we were not only trimming two already existing linden trees, but we were as well planting one new one in the vicinity of the church. So based on the historical pictures and after consultation with our gardener, um, Mishka, that was taking care of the greenery around the church, we decided the spot to actually plant a tree. So we actually left a mark that will stand there for the next 100 years. And that was one of the strong moments of the project itself, that you actually left a mark on the landscape that hopefully will still be standing there for generations. So securing the tree, so that was one part of the workshop that we learned how to do it properly. Here is Juraj showing us different approaches of the lime plaster. For, we had different periods being shown, like in Gothic era, it was very structured and very wavy plaster finish, because they didn't want to waste enough material for making the plaster like very vertical and very smooth, how we do it today. So we had this excursion into historical eras, how they approached the work with the plaster. So in Gothic era it was different. Then in Renaissance, in the 16th century it was different, and then the Baroque layer we tried to apply as well. So that was one of the fun parts of the workshop, that pretty much all of our people that attended the workshop really liked. Here we have the wooden doors and how to clean it properly, with traditional tools without the use of heat guns, and it's very you have to be very patient to do this job if you've ever done something like that and cleaned old wood. But these doors from the beginning of the 20th century, they are already secondary used in one of the heritage monuments in nearby Jelšava town. Um, yeah, we were as well trying to get some pigments to make our plasters a bit more nice and to actually try the techniques of the ornaments from the Renaissance era uh, within our already new plaster. So that was like ad hoc idea of the restoration artist, and that's why it is always good to work with creative people and with professionals because some new experience is always opening up, and you think about something new and you learn something new pretty much every hour. And your view on the heritage and on the buildings that you walk around, it completely changes your point of view, and you really start uh, to be like really proud of our ancestors, like what they left to us. There are some different techniques how to work with plaster. We had some child visitors as well, so they had nice fun as well. And this is Stefan from Slovenia. Uh, he was really really glad to do this work. So pretty much all of the attendees got really deep into the topic. This is actually the picture from cutting the tree or the trimming the tree by Marek, which was our professional arborist for the theoretical part and for the practical part of this part of the master class. This is preparation of the flower bed. Uh, it was really planted with not great flowers for such an area. So our gardener decided like what should be planted there and how it should look like in the recent years, how it will be developed, and not to damage the church itself as well. But there was an issue because it was raining, so this flower bed was completely flooded. So we needed to postpone that for another day. This is taking care of the soil and sowing the flower bed. Yeah, action pictures. And then we were just some playing with plaster. So this is pretty much our outcome. This is the slake lime plaster and some finishes. So I believe these were pretty intensive 2 days of the masterclass or 3 days of the masterclass, where we worked as experts and young enthusiast volunteers with the community of the local people that don't have any experience with this kind of work. So it was all level of collaboration, and I believe everybody went like really enthusiastic after that. And even within the local community, there were new connections and new approaches and new relations started to form up for the longer collaboration. And we were really glad that we uh, use this hands-on approach with the local community, because now the surrounding of the church will be a place where they left some work, so it will be definitely much more valuable than it was until now. So yes, that's pretty much everything we wanted to talk about with you. And I know it sounds like very easy to speak about the project in 45 minutes, but it really got us 2 years of preparation and cooperation, not only among the partners from Slovenia and Romania, but with experts and with local community to get the results done and to have all the layouts and outcomes that needed to be done. So from our side, it was a very successful project, and hopefully we will have some more time for some other implementation with the local community and to cooperate with them in the long term to help them to take care of the surroundings of their most precious heritage, which the Lutheran Church in Kamenyany from the 13th century definitely is. So thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, just leave them down in the comment, or you can approach us directly within the Gothic Root Association webpage, gotickacesta.sk. And if you would like to get more information how to get done such a project, how to network with people within Europe and with young enthusiasts, uh, just feel free to contact us, and hopefully see you within one of our churches. So thank you. Goodbye.